Hey everybody, as you may or may not know, I spoke at Digital Summit Phoenix about a month ago, and I wanted to uncover all the different aspects of my presentation. I know a lot of people that speak, and they speak on stage, they do certain things for lead generation, sales, whatever, and it's often hard to know how much time is put in, what the results are, and how all that works out. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to just rip back the covers of what I did, how much time it took, what the results were, what my speaker score was, and some of the feedback that I got. And I don't know if I'll be invited back to Digital Summit based on at least one of the comments. So, the feedback was really interesting, but I'll talk about that towards the end of the video. So, the very first thing is this is my presentation. Are you a data-driven marketer? You're likely missing an entire category of analytics. I suggested talking about something a little bit different, like call tracking, and I talked to the organizers, and they said, call tracking is not that sexy. Maybe we should make the title a little bit more vague so that people come in the room, and then and then you can talk about it, and then you can talk about call tracking. And so they encouraged me, and we agreed on this title to make it a little bit more vague, and this was in the program and everything else. So are you a data-driven marketer? You're likely missing an entire category of analytics, and we're talking about call tracking, which is not in the title. Important to know for later. And this is the style of my presentation. So I wanted to make it very simple with interesting graphics, not a lot of text, never bringing a pain to a data fight, one of our favorite quotes. Just photos. I was kind of making fun of stock photos here. And this was the style of my presentation. Ryan Gosling, hey girl, keep crunching those numbers. This was kind of like a joke. Like, I'm not much of a joker, so I thought I would try and joke through a slide. And I don't know, I think it was okay. Newsflash, calls are dead, bro. So this is what my presentation more or less looked like. And I talked about how call tracking works, some of the benefits, and how you can get started. So as I mentioned, I'm not going to go through the entire presentation because that's not the purpose of this video. But at the end, I said, hey, if you want more resources, text DS 2019 to 555-888 or visit paracore.com/DS. So these are two ways that people could get more information about call tracking. So the idea was to acquire emails that I would then throw in my email database. As a side note, I did approve this through the organizers ahead of time. I told them what it would be like very light lead generation, and they approved it. So we gave a presentation at another conference a while back, and we did something that was more salesy that was not approved, and the organizers weren't very happy about it. So if you're going to collect leads and quote unquote sell, I don't know if I was really selling here, but I would definitely get it approved through the organizers and get protocol on what speakers are allowed to do and maybe not allowed to do. So I did get that one approved, and so there's no complaints because I got it approved. And then here's some photos. I did a very short exercise in the middle of the presentation, like 15 seconds, getting people up so that they could just kind of get a break. And I took a photo of myself because I figured, hey, this would be a good idea to take good time to take a selfie. So pro tip, do a little tip, turn around, quick selfie. And I don't know, I thought that was kind of cool. And then just a couple other photos of the presentation. Now, I also wanted to just point out at this point in the video, a lot of people will say, talk about editing videos like this one I'm creating now, and you have to stitch in photos and all that. I'm literally in Dropbox showing you photos, and there's going to be no editing and no stitching in videos. I have other videos in here that I could weave in, not going to do it. These photos, I'm not doing any editing to this video. So if you're worried about creating videos, you can do this fairly easily. I'm literally just going through tab by tab in my browser and showing you different aspects of what I've been up to. All right, so on the preparation side, we use Harvest. It's a time tracking system. And I wanted to know how much time I was spending working on this presentation. So here is we're a couple weeks past it. Here's the project overview. I spent 31 hours, right? 31.44. This cost isn't really accurate. These numbers are sort of bogus. I don't really use it the way I should. But this is how it's all broken down, all right? So I have 12 hours of building. That's really me working on the presentation. So I spent 12 hours on that presentation. That's 12 real hours. It's not like, oh, I spent a day and a half, and I'm going to say it's 12 hours. No, it's real track time, 12 hours. And I did it in the mornings on top of all the other stuff I was doing. So it was a lot of time, a lot more than I thought. Andrea on my team spent just under 10 hours on design. She helped me with the presentation. She also designed a landing page and designed some ads. So I'm going to show you the landing page, and you've already seen the presentation. This was me practicing marketing copywriting. So I practiced for 8 hours. I think I did 2 1-hour sessions and then 2 2-hour sessions a weekend before the event. So roughly 8 hours. Account management was just random stuff I was doing along with Nicole. And then development was Mark in my office helping me with the text messaging interface. So he didn't spend a lot of time. But all in all, I spent roughly 20 hours. Andrea spent roughly 10. I mean, we had 31 hours into this presentation and project. That's a lot of time. So this is the landing page that we designed. I'm going to go back here real quick. Paracore.com/Diaz for Digital Summit. It says, are you interested in learning more? Basically put in your email address. And when someone puts in their email address, this is integrated into Zapier. Zapier then puts them into Campaign Monitor, which is our email system. And Campaign Monitor then puts them in my email list and kicks off an autoresponder with links to additional resources. So resources to our YouTube channel. I think I had the presentation in there. I can't remember the exact email, but from a results perspective, we only had roughly, it doesn't say the total number in here. I don't want to show the number because that's all the emails, but we had, I had different call tracking systems. So CallRail, CallFire, PhoneWagon, blah, blah, blah. So there were only 3 people out of like 250 that signed up through the landing page or via the text message. Like 3 people. I think 2 were via the landing, or I don't know, 2 via the landing page, maybe 1 via the text message. So just like not a lot at all. I was really surprised. It's like, man, apparently like nobody wanted more information about this presentation. Like nobody thought it was that valuable. So again, this was the call to action at the end for more resources. I don't know. Maybe the call to action wasn't strong. It wasn't anything related to Paracore. It was just like, hey, if you want more information on what we're talking about. So this says 5 unique opens. Really, it was 3. And then this is the platform we were using for the text messages. It's called Simple Texting, and the way it works is you put in a keyword, you get assigned a phone number. So our phone number was 555-888, and what you do is you text DS 2019, this keyword, to 555-888. It then responds and says, hey, thanks for your interest. Put in your email address, and we're going to send you the resources you requested. Put in the email address. I've then connected an app, which is Zapier. That text goes into Zapier, filters for an email, and then it pushes them into Campaign Monitor, and then they get the autoresponder. So essentially, you're texting, putting in your email, and then getting an email back, and then you're being added to my list. Now, this works. It's not the best system that I've seen, so I got to imagine there's a different text messaging system that works better, that's maybe all automated, but this did work. Now, here's Digital Summit. It says 6. This is Startup Week, where I had roughly 80 people in the audience. It was a much smaller group. And I think I got 25 contacts. 5 of these are from a presentation I did at GCU. But just massive difference. I mean, massive difference. So Digital Summit on a stage, 30 minutes. I thought it was a much bigger audience. Startup Week, between 80 and 100 people in a smaller room, business owners. I was there for an hour and a half. It was more of a workshop. And there I got like 25 responses. So the response rate was way higher and the engagement rate was way higher in Startup Week. So those are just some results that, I didn't really feel like the text message thing worked out that great, nor the lead generation in general. So then I got my feedback information and I was pretty bummed out about it actually. So it basically says here, this is my information. I even say I'm disappointed, asking for more comments, which I'll show you in a minute. It says the total was 3.56, 3.9. I was happy about my delivery. I haven't really practiced. I need to go to like Toastmasters or something to get more comfortable speaking in front of people. But I had 2 weeks to prepare for this. So preparation and then regular workload and then practicing. Not a lot of time, but I roughly had 2 weeks. So 3.9 I was happy with. But I was really bummed with 3.43 on the overall session. And then 3.33 on usefulness. I was like, man, this like bombed. I was like, super bummed when I got this. And then I saw that the average was 4.19. I'm like, man, this sucks. So I asked for feedback. I wanted to know what my feedback was. And this is my feedback. So it says, useful for agencies already using third-party call tracking, redundant for people already familiar. Wish the description would have mentioned it was about call tracking as it's not relevant for my current role. Super insightful, blah, 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 good advice. Didn't love this one. Was promoting a third-party platform the entire time, but had good energy. So I did talk about call tracking a lot. I didn't think I promoted the platform, but I did talk about them as like the platform I use. So I think if I were to do it again, I would want to make more clear and more certain that I wasn't like promoting them because I wasn't. They're just the one that we're familiar with. This was a bit of a weird session. Ended up being perfect for my business since we feel love in my calling, but it really had nothing to do with the name of the session. Why wasn't the word call? So remember I told you earlier, I talked to the organizer and we said, hey, let's make it kind of vague because call tracking might not be that sexy. So Adam was knowledgeable, clearly new to the speaking thing, but he'll get there. He was very authentic and enjoyable. So like this, I feel good about I like that one. It was like, hey, the guy's got a new, he's doing good, blah, blah, blah. So whatever. Stage presence wasn't boring, but not as energetic and entertaining as others. Content was interesting, could be something that's useful. Presentation was good, missed the mark with regards to the title matching the content. And then this is the one why I don't know if I'll get invited back. I didn't appreciate the microaggressive language towards women in statements like, am I right, bro? Or Ryan Gosling's, hey, girl. So I told you that this slide was kind of like my joke because it's like a meme that's been going around forever. And man, and then this one, newsflash, calls her dead, bro. And that really like offended somebody. And it like blew my mind. So I either need to develop thick skin and not worry about that and just be like, roll with it, or take something like that out. And I don't really know where I stand on that issue yet. Anyway, trend calls, yes. Best thing out of the session, definitely chatting with the sponsor can help with this. Ringbuzz, a sponsor that was there, so that was cool. I actually talked to the Ringba sponsorship table, and they said they got a bunch of people that came out and inquired about their services, and I didn't even know who they were until that marketing conference. But Ringbuzz amazing. They're for like performance-based marketing. Least favorite, call quantification, not something people are likely to miss. I thought maybe you were going to talk about something new, blah, blah, blah. So basically, this person came in wanting to know something about analytics, didn't have call tracking. They thought call tracking was a no-brainer, and they didn't like it. Title session not indicative of the subject. Call tracking is not useful for my clients. Had I known that, I would not have attended. So based on this feedback, and I think some of these are me and my team. So based on the feedback, I think that had I don't know. This is me being optimistic. I'm thinking that if the title had aligned with the content better, I may have gotten better scores because a lot of people were complaining about the alignment of the title and the content. So that's my review of Digital Summit. You have all in my email seen quite a bit of content around that. And if you are going to be speaking anytime soon, it's a lot of time up front. I would recommend maybe being careful with the content you put out there related to microaggressive comments, and which I've actually never heard of before, but I will take that into consideration. And then also title aligning with content, super important. So thanks for watching. As always, leave a comment in the video. I appreciate your time. Sorry it was a little bit longer video, but I wanted to go in depth. So thanks a lot. Have a good one. Talk soon.